This podcast is made possible by the listener members of Nashville Public Radio.
This is the Nash Villager Podcast. It's September 26, 2025. On this date in 1957, public health officials raided stores across Nashville looking for toys made in Japan that were coated in lead paint. Once tested, it was determined that some of the items for sale had 10 times the amount of lead allowed by American standards of the time. Nearly 60 stores were raided. According to reports, all of them cooperated with authorities. I'm Nina Cardona, and this is your daily digest of what's happening around Middle Tennessee with historical context from Nashville Public Radio, WPLN News. It took a lot of work and effort by activists to get the use of lead paint under control. Leaded pigments help improve the durability and drying time of paints, so of course manufacturers wanted to make use of them. But lead is a very toxic substance. Thankfully, people eventually came to believe what scientists had to say about lead's effects on the human body, and limits were put on the amount of lead that can be in places or substances that are going to come into contact with people. That was in the 20th century, which was an age of tremendous scientific advances. Some captured the collective imagination, like humankind's first steps into space, and others saved lives, but only with a widespread agreement to trust the science. I'm thinking of the way that hygiene measures were adopted to end the periodic epidemics of typhoid and cholera that had long just been part of normal life, or the way Americans embraced the polio vaccine and managed to all but eradicate it after nearly a decade of devastating summer epidemics of the disease. Workplaces generally became much safer. We finally, if begrudgingly, agree that smoking does awful things to the lungs. The rate of death from heart disease declined dramatically. Tuberculosis has become rare, and once common diseases tied to poor nutrition, like rickets and goiter, are basically a thing of the past because we trusted what the scientists said. But that was a different time, a different century. I was just looking back at coverage from 2012 when Tennessee captured the nation's attention for adopting a law that gives science teachers the go-ahead to craft lessons that question the theory of evolution or the existence of climate change. The National Center for Science Education dubbed it Tennessee's 21st Century Monkey Law, referring to the Scopes monkey trial from the 1920s that essentially took the very idea of evolution to court. Some national outlets suggested the 2012 law was a harbinger of a new loss of faith in science. Now, that was tempered by an article in Science Line written by my now editor, Miriam Kramer, who is a Knoxville native. She made some very solid points about how, even without laws saying they could, Tennessee science teachers had already long tended to skate over aspects of science that can be controversial. In other words, it wasn't really that big of a change. And she was right. But it seems the others were too. Because in the years since, there's absolutely been further crumbling of people's willingness to trust the information about health, safety, and environmental best practices that come from science. And there's been a flowering of misinformation that claims to be backed by some kind of evidence, but when you look more closely, that evidence is either a weird misreading of a report, or there were very limited studies that couldn't be duplicated, or someone has just made up a lie from scratch. Like the unfounded rumors that swirl about vaccine safety or the supposed causes of autism. And that lack of trust can really get in the way of some of the ideas that are being offered as solutions for very real problems in this state. For example, many communities in rural East Tennessee are experiencing a healthcare crisis. Small hospitals and clinics keep closing. There aren't enough doctors, especially when it comes to anything beyond primary care. And one way that some have been trying to fill those gaps is through telehealth that can link people in those communities to specialists in places like Knoxville or Nashville. But just this last year, a doctoral student at East Tennessee State wrote a dissertation on how mistrust is keeping that approach from really taking off. Now, it doesn't help that they may need to jump through hoops to make the tech work for them. That's a logistical barrier, but also this is a mess, therefore I can't trust it kind of hurdle. But also, at the heart of everything, a faraway physician is perceived as far less trustworthy than someone the patient can visit in person. And the end result is that all too many older folks in need of specialist care are only using telemedicine as a last resort, if at all. And that proximity is frequently a really important piece of the trust issue. People all too often trust the person they meet face to face who is repeating a rumor that flies in the face of scientific evidence more than they trust a far-off expert at the CDC or Harvard or wherever, which is how we came to have communities like Sparta, Woodlawn, and Spring Hill wanting to take fluoride out of the water, not willing to trust the evidence that shows how that practice dramatically improved children's dental health. But here's the thing. In that article Miriam wrote for Science Line back in 2012, she made another really good point. She highlighted the incredible science that happens right here in Tennessee, at Vanderbilt and UT and Meharry and Oak Ridge and Tennessee Tech, just to name a few institutions. Researchers right in our own backyard are working on the cutting edge, expanding our understanding of how the world works, how bodies work, and what can actually keep us healthy and safe. So we do have people close by to listen to and to learn from. We've just got to be willing to trust that they know what they're talking about and be open to findings that may conflict with what our buddies have to say. In just a few minutes, a Nashville hip-hop artist who took some time to find his voice. That's coming up after the newscast.
You've got a lot of things to keep track of. Work schedules, family activities, the ever-growing list of things you need to remember to do. Updating the credit card or banking information for your sustaining membership may have slipped your mind. With just 2 minutes of your time, you can update your payment information and check one more thing off your list. Peace of mind for you, funding for your public radio station. Go online to WPLN.org.
Here's the latest from WPLN News. Disaster survivors, including in Tennessee, are waiting longer to get aid from the federal government. That's according to a new Associated Press analysis of decades of data. In the 1990s and early 2000s, it took on average less than 2 weeks for a governor's request for help to be granted. That rose to roughly 3 weeks during the past decade under presidents from both major parties. Under the current Trump administration, it's taking more than a month. This year in Tennessee, it took Trump's office 63 days to approve disaster aid after a string of April tornadoes. Residents have received $8 million in relief. The Trump administration says it's reviewing disaster requests with more rigor. Tennessee has had 55 disaster declarations since 1996 and is among 30 states seeing longer waits. The mayor of Murfreesboro is calling for a leadership change at Middle Tennessee State University. Mayor Shane McFarland went to MTSU and was even president of its student government. This Monday, in his weekly Facebook chat with constituents, McFarland extensively detailed nearly 15 years of instances when he feels like the university and the city have butted heads. That ranged from how to handle crime at off-campus student apartments and disagreements over the school's use of the city's airfield, to disputes over whether banners bearing the MTSU logo should be removed from the city square ahead of a controversial event that was sure to get press coverage. He also seemed to suggest the university prioritizes new buildings over people. McFarland does praise MTSU President Sidney McPhee over his handling of social media posts made by an administrator following Charlie Kirk's killing. The university fired an assistant dean for her remarks. Lawmakers are asking the Tennessee Department of Education for more details about the state's new voucher program. Representative Kevin Vaughn, a Republican from Collierville, backed the program earlier this year. But now he's asking why the state won't share how many students were already enrolled in private school when they received a voucher. The Tennessee Lookout reports the department is saying it's not required to release that information. The voucher program allows families to use taxpayer dollars to help cover the costs of private school. Each voucher is just over $7,000. Half of the 20,000 available slots were reserved for low-income students, while by law, the other half could go to families with no income cap. Over 42,000 families applied for the program, and the Tennessean reports the state denied applications from over 11,000 low-income students. A Nashville middle school teacher has been arrested and charged with a child sex crime. In March, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children alerted Metro Police that a Nashville IP address was being used to reverse image search inappropriate photos of minors. That activity was traced back to 28-year-old Alexander Donahoe, a teacher at Jerry Baxter Middle School. Police say he admitted to possessing child sexual material. His computer's been seized, and he's being held in jail on a $100,000 bond. Some teenagers are really nice, but some enjoy pranks. And some of those pranks, the Gallatin Police Department will tell you, are crimes. In recent weeks, that's included not just the timeless throwing of toilet paper over tree limbs, but property damage like egging and spray painting cars. Now, WKRN reports 8 juveniles have been arrested in connection with what the youths call the junior-senior wars, and Gallatin police say their investigation is ongoing. They also note some of the kids involved were dressed tactically in all black with masks. They say that's not a good idea, especially if someone mistakes them for an intruder, and not just a kid who needs to go home. Do you watch videos with the captions on or off? It's a decision you can now bring to the big screen. More and more local movie theaters have started offering screenings with captions. They've been a success with the hearing impaired and moviegoers who have grown to love following along with the dialogue. WPLN's Justin Barney has the story.
Since COVID, watching videos with the captions on has pretty much become standard everywhere, except for the movie theater until now. Captions fans like Amelia Van Howe are happy to have the option.
Everyone I know watches with captions. Why not have it in theaters as well?
Every Wednesday for the past couple months, the Belcourt Movie Theater has been showing movies with captions. Though captions lovers aren't the intended audience.
1 in 7 Americans have hearing loss and other challenges, and that's the community that we're really trying to make sure has easy, open, accessible screenings available to them.
Regal Hollywood in South Nashville has also been doing caption screenings, and in 2021, AMC, the country's biggest movie chain, committed to adding caption screenings across the country. The Belcourt's Jessica Brienne said the screenings have been a hit.
At first it was sort of our older patrons coming, but now we've seen some younger people who are used to the captions at home.
Silverman tells me they're here to stay. More studios are offering them up, and AI transcription is making them more available. Justin Barney, WPLN News.
In 1961, a dam on the Tennessee River collapsed, killing 3 people. Now, footage of the event has surfaced from a retired U.S. Army Corps of Engineers manager. Jim Davis donated the footage to the Corps and made it publicly available. The dam was the Wheeler Lock in North Alabama, one of many dams owned by the Tennessee Valley Authority. TVA said at the time that the clay in the bedrock below the dam caused the failure. TVA ultimately rebuilt the dam the next year, and it still operates as a hydroelectric dam today. You'll find more news anytime at WPLN.org. Nashville hip-hop artist VibeOut is about to release his first album at the age of 35. But it's not an impulse project. He used to envision himself working in music, not making it himself. And he found his way over time. Senior music writer Julie Height has this story.
There's one question that needs to be answered before I interview an artist. Where? Ideally, we'll do our sit-down somewhere that's relevant to their music, say a recording studio or a spot where they wrote their best lyrics. VibeOut proposed a different type of setting, a community organizing hub.
Right now, we at the office of the Southern Moving Committee.
The staff member who lets us into this North Nashville space is Vibe's fellow rapper, Mike Floss.
No problem. Welcome to the office. I'll give you the fast tour.
The walls are lined with photos of Black activist heroes, Fannie Lou Hamer, George Jackson, Marsha P. Johnson. Then there's an image of a young girl marching with the Black Nashville Assembly. It's Vibe's daughter, Tatiana.
She was out there just every step of the way with us. She involved with us just as much as we is.
This office may not be where Vibe made his album Good Things Coming Soon, but being part of the work done here profoundly influenced what he rhymes about.
Well, this is definitely one of my ground bases. A lot of people that's in this org with me, I took a lot from them.
Floss makes a guest appearance on a track where Vibe tells his story of surviving youthful violence to become a champion for his community.
We fight him off, we hopped in the car, he stabbed us all, he won y'all, thank God we lived to tell it all. Thank God I ain't behind the walls, I evolved. Thank God my mama never got that phone call.
Outside running with the same that I've been with, never thought of switching up. About time you got off that lame shit. Told her when the real call and pick it up.
Long before Vibe contemplated rapping, he was a Nashville school kid with a good ear.
When I hit like 4th grade, I heard Janet Jackson's song with Q-Tip called Till It's Gone. It was produced by J Dilla. At the time, I didn't know who J Dilla was, but I liked the production on it.
Hey, the kid had taste. J Dilla was one of the most revered producers in underground hip-hop, thanks to his artfully deconstructed grooves. By high school, Vibe had done his homework on poetic MCs and sophisticated rhythms. Since all his friends were into gangster rap, he kept his favorite neo-soul CD to himself.
And they used to be like, hey, let me borrow your CD player for next period. I'm like, nah, I'll let you get it the period after.
But I swear it seems like 2 years at least.
Yeah, because I don't want them to know I'm listening to LA. I'm with the homies.
When Vibe saw locals pursuing music, he started offering some sonic input.
I was like, man, we got all these rappers here. We need people on the business side. So I started going to school at IADT, International Academy for Design and Technology. I went there for 2 years. And when I was getting ready to graduate, the school went bankrupt.
And the credits wouldn't transfer. Demoralized, Vibe settled into a regular job, had his daughter, and followed the scene as a fan. Until he got a call one night in 2018 from one of his oldest and most musical friends, Sandman, who just watched a documentary on West Coast hip-hop crews.
I want to start like an all-star lineup. The first person I called was him.
When Vibe protested that he didn't rap, Sandman insisted that he try, not because they shared the same style.
Our tastes are night and day.
But because Sandman had witnessed Vibe's connoisseurship.
It's easy to trust him as an artist because I think he's been training his ears since a child, and he found his groove and his vibe, no pun intended, years ago.
They started recording and hitting open mics together, and Vibe critiqued his own vocal flow the way an A&R person would.
Don't catch your time, man, before getting to heaven. Enjoy your life and live more, so do some suggestions.
When I first started rapping, I think I was too wordy.
He put thought into what he wanted to say. That's when he got interested in learning about civil rights history and joining the cause in Nashville now.
I didn't grow up in this. I evolved into this, showing that people, we got power within the city if we all, move together in the right way.
Vibe brought a similar mentality to his 11-song set. It opens with a heartfelt interlude from Sandman.
You can't fake being proud of somebody. I ain't never seen nobody be fake proud of somebody. Especially as black men, but as men in general.
And it features other voices from across the Nashville hip-hop community who sound like they're trying to elevate, not outdo, Vibe's level-headed flow. His lyrics connect his pursuit of individual enlightenment to his desire to see his musical and political communities rise together.
Provide a space, just us, where black men can be free. Motivation, where's the love? Get money without the plug. Caution, mutual accountability without reading my eulogy.
It took Vibe a lifelong journey, plus 3 years of recording and mixing, to finish his first full length. And for good reason. He was as patient with the process of developing perspective as he was meticulous about his sound.
It's grown folks. It's like grown people, music.
For Nashville Public Radio, I'm Julie Height.
Rejoice, let's get it more. Rejoice, let's get it more. Motivation.
Thanks for listening to the Nash Villager podcast. We take this look at Nashville news every weekday. If you like it, go ahead and subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and tell a friend or give us a mention on your socials. It really helps get the word out. And of course, everything at WPLN News is listener supported. You can become a member at WPLN.org. And that's it for today. Thanks so much for listening. Let's make this day a good one. We'll catch back up next week.